housing and affordability is the number one issue. And people will leave Massachusetts if they can't afford to stay here.
We're working with an estimate of about 200,000 units of new housing that needs to be produced over the next 10 years if we're going to meet the demand.
Right now, the median sales price of a home is close to $1 million.
We have to act, and we have to act now to make it easier for everybody to afford a place to live in Massachusetts.
This journey began about 7 years ago. Joe Finn from Mahasa asked me and a number of other people what it is that we could possibly do to try to create housing for people who didn't have homes. So we came up with this idea of the micro unit.
Each one of these units has a small little kitchenette, and then of course bathrooms and closets and bedrooms, so they're actually almost a studio type of an apartment. There's a laundry area, common meeting room. There will be a building manager that actually lives on site in the property.
So the question is, how do you take this basic dwelling unit and build it as cost effectively as possible? And the answer is, you come up with a design that meets all of the criteria for federal and state and funding agency dimensional requirements, which are very strict, and you build it in a factory.
There are different ways to build houses. You can build out in the field, but you're probably looking at about a 9-month production cycle. What modular housing really is a controlled way to build in a factory setting. Once we put the first nail in the stick of lumber on our production line, we're usually able to deliver within about 3.5 to 6 weeks. It's a very fast, very efficient way to build.
Quality of modular construction, it's even better than a traditional type of construction. The reason being is that the materials are all stored in a controlled environment.
People outside, if it's raining, freezing rain, snow, they're outside hanging off an eave trying to get something put up. In here, the materials aren't getting wet. Everything's under the roof. It's staying dry throughout the process. It's going to be in better condition.
Permitting for modular construction is really no different than any other form of construction that you're building. Everything's regulated through the International Residential Building Code.
We are built with the same code as the stick built on site. We actually will build them a little bit stronger because we got to pick them up and drive them down the highway. The people building the floors, they do the floors every day. They become experts in building the floor system. We have sections of people doing the same thing day after day, and that process just becomes second nature to them. So it's all done more rapidly.
There is an efficiency throughout the entire system, from concept to delivery, to designing and building something that's basically a template. With repetition comes efficiency. With efficiency comes cost effectiveness. Cost effectiveness and predictability are the key to being able to produce more affordable housing.
We are in a major housing crisis. We need to use every tool in the toolbox, and modular construction offers us a really important way to add a lot more units. And this is a model of doing it for micro efficiencies on a small parcel of land. Has a lot of promise. We really want to see this happening all across the state.
There are a lot of people who have an impression that modular construction is trailers, and obviously it is not. What it is extremely energy efficient, sustainable, high quality construction that's built in a factory by people who are working at a good wage, ergonomically, safely, indoors.
I think modular construction really is the future. The beauty about this particular modality is that the homes look like the homes next to it. They really fit in, and they really are part of the neighborhood.
We took this template for a building and we put 10 different skins on it so that this building could work in Worcester or Cambridge or Boston or Arlington, fit right into the neighborhood, and the guts are all exactly the same.
The biggest hindrance with construction is basically time and cost overruns. Modular allows you to get a big chunk of the construction costs isolated into a fixed number based upon all your decisions that you made up front, so you know that you have a guaranteed price with the delivery.
Philosophically, there is an approach that could make delivery of affordable housing easier, which is not to have to take on large projects and put large groups of formerly homeless people into one location, but to instead think about individual, smaller, dispersed, underutilized lots, as is the case at Winfield Street. There is no hurdle that we're being faced with that we can't readily overcome in terms of the construction.
While 18 units may represent only a small portion of the housing needed at the state level, our goal is to think about all of the lessons learned for this model of delivery and ultimately streamline the process to benefit communities across the Commonwealth.
The problem is one of perception. This methodology is being used all over the world very successfully.
We're using more and more modular construction, but some of the old school guys, that have been doing it for 20 or 30 or 40 years, they look at modular construction and they're unfamiliar with it. I would say get yourself familiar with it. See a couple of finished products. Take a tour of a modular plant. Understand the level of detail, the level of craftsmanship, the level of quality control that goes into actually building the project.
We are in a deep housing crisis here in Massachusetts. We've been in it for a little while. We're not going to get out of it overnight. So we have to be creative and thoughtful of how we're going to approach more building and be smart about it. Just watching how fast it went up, and pretty efficient. Certainly something we have to explore further if we're going to get out of the mess that we're in right now.
1, 2, 3.
It's really thrilling to be here today and to see this completed project. What an amazing home it will be for people who've been experiencing homelessness. I'm really grateful to the City of Worcester for their partnership on this project and the state of Massachusetts who funded a large portion of the project. Those development dollars are really critical.
That if we use the right processes and technology, we can build affordable housing twice as quickly and at 2/3 the cost of the typical approach. Let's do more of these. Thank you.
It took 6 years for the financing to be put in place, and then it took 6 months to be produced. I think many neighborhoods here in our community that has some of these vacant lots, we could see 2-3 units of housing being put up in them, and that's going to help us overall get to our solution.
Being in housing for 39 years and seeing what we have here is absolutely, it's overwhelming. This is a model that I would definitely want to see going forward.
There are people who are living unsheltered, living in a shelter or living in an encampment somewhere in Massachusetts, that this is exactly what they need in order to be in a safe, healthy, stable environment. So an underutilized lot that had become kind of an eyesore to the neighborhood has now been turned into 18 units of much needed housing, beautifully landscaped. We've all got to have the sense of urgency to bring more units online and to do it more quickly.
What do we need to do to swiftly and cost-effectively build more affordable housing? First, we need to create pre-approved modular unit templates to increase cost predictability and to speed permitting. Second, let's encourage the construction of more modular factories in Massachusetts through incentives and pre-purchasing agreements. Third, give state agencies the tools and training to support modular construction. And fourth, we should share best practices so that contractors, manufacturers, and developers can learn from each other how to be as efficient as possible. The lack of affordable housing is a crisis in Massachusetts and across the nation. We can't solve this problem by continuing to build houses in the same way as we have for the past 150 years. Innovative solutions demand changes to the entire industry to effectively embrace the modular revolution.